are you? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Right, quick, march.
Gordon M. Amoth Jr.,
Edomiro Abad,
Marie Rosabad,
Andrew Anthony Abate,
Vincent Paul Abate,
Lawrence Christopher Abel,
Alana Abraham,
William F. Abrahamson,
Richard Anthony Acito,
Heinrich Bernard Ackerman,
Paul Aquaviva,
Christian Adams,
Donald Leroy Adams,
Patrick Adams,
Shannon Lewis Adams,
Stephen George Adams,
Ignatius Udo Adanga,
Christy A. Adama,
Terrence Edward Adderley Jr.,
Sophia B. Ado,
Lee Adler,
Daniel Thomas Afalito,
Emmanuel Akwasi Afuakwa,
Alok Argawal,
Mukal Kumar Agawala,
Joseph Agnello,
David Scott Agnes,
Joao Alberto de Fonseca Aguiar Jr.,
Brian G. Ahern,
Jeremiah Joseph Ahern,
Joanne Marie Aladiotis,
Shabir Ahmed,
Terrence Andre Aiken,
Godwin O. Ahala,
Trudy M. Alagero,
Andrew Alamino,
Margaret Ann Alario,
Gary M. Albero,
John Leslie Albert,
Peter Craig Alderman,
and my cousin, New York firefighter Steve Belson from Rockaway Beach, Queens. Steve was known as Mr. Ladder 24 at Engine 1 on West 31st Street near Madison Square Garden, right here in Manhattan. He was last heard from on the 44th floor while climbing up the South Tower, and will be a hero among so many on that day. I want to say, though, quickly, that each one of us who follow us in the readings of the names, as well as each person watching, no matter where you are or the language you speak, has the power to affect the world for good. Never forget the evil terrorist organizations that brought these towers down, killing almost 3,000 innocent lives, including those at the Pentagon and on the 4 hijacked planes. And to all of those out there who still do not know history, please learn about the groups and the nations that continue to support global terror, including all those who still chant "Death to America." Enough already. Let the good people of the world unite on the side of the good and the righteous. And may God bless the United States of America, land of the free and home of the brave.
And my cousin and godfather, Ryan Daniel Fitzgerald. Every day I wear your initials on my shoulder. I'm reminded of your profound impact on my life. Your memory lives on in our hearts, and your family misses you deeply. The love we have for you will endure across generations. We will never forget you or anyone who tragically lost their lives that day. God bless our military, our first responders, the FDNY, Engine 298, the NYPD, and God bless New York City. But most of all, God bless America.
Jacqueline Delane Aldridge Frederick,
David D. Alger,
Ernest Alicacos,
Edward L. Allegretto,
Eric Allen,
Joseph Ryan Allen,
Richard Dennis Allen,
Richard L. Allen,
Christopher E. Allingham,
Anna S. W. Allison,
Janet Marie Alonso,
Anthony Alvarado,
Antonio Javier Alvarez,
Victoria Alvarez Brito,
Telmo E. Alvier,
Cesar Amaranto Alviar,
Tariq Amunula,
Angelo Amaranto,
James M. Amato,
Joseph Amatuccio,
Paul W. Ambrose,
Christopher Charles Amoroso,
Craig Scott Amunson,
Kazuhiro Anai,
Callisto Anaya Jr.,
Joseph P. Enchundia,
Kermit Charles Anderson,
Yvette Constance Anderson,
John Jack Andriacchio,
Michael Rourke Andrews,
Jean Ann Andrucki,
Sue Nia Ang,
Joseph Angelini Sr.,
Joseph John Angelini Jr.,
David Lawrence Angel,
Mary Lynn Edwards Angel,
Laura Angeletta,
Doreen J. Angrisani,
Lorraine Antigua,
Sema David Aoyama.
And my grandfather, Edward Joseph Papa. Grandpa Eddie, although I never got a chance to meet you, we share many of the same interests. Not only do we share the same name, but I also love to play golf. I also love the Mets and playing baseball just like you did. People always tell me we share the same smile and happy energy. I wish I could have met you, and I hope we are all making you proud.
And my dad, Stephen Francis Schlag. I love him and miss him as ever. All the years combine, they melt into a dream. Life is good, it's 88 and sunny.
Peter Paul Apollo,
Faustino Apostle Jr.,
Frank Thomas Aquilino,
Patrick Michael Araños,
David Gregory Archer,
Michael George Archensky,
Louis Arena,
Barbara Jean Aristide,
Adam P. Arias,
Michael J. Armstrong,
Jack Charles Aaron,
Joshua Todd Aaron,
Richard Avery Arno,
Myra Joy Aronson,
Japhet Jesse Aria,
Carl Francis Asaro,
Michael A. Ajiak,
Michael Edward Asher,
Janice Marie Ashley,
Thomas J. Ashton,
Manuel O. Asidambe,
Greg A. Atlas,
Gerald Thomas Atwood,
James Otterfred,
Louis F. Aversano Jr.,
Ezra Avilias,
Sandy Ayala,
Arlene T. Babakidis,
Eustace R. Bacchus,
John J. Badakliaka,
Jane Ellen Basler,
Robert J. Bearwalter,
Andrew J. Bailey,
Brett T. Bailey,
Garnet Ace Bailey,
Tatiana Bakalinskaya,
Michael S. Baksh,
Sharon M. Balcom,
Michael Andrew Bain,
Catherine Bantis,
and my uncle, firefighter Jimmy Riches. Uncle Jimmy, we talk about you all the time and how you sound so amazing. I wish I could have met you, and I know you were cheering me on at all of my cheerleading competitions and watching over our whole family. We all know when we see a dragonfly, it's your way of saying hello to us. We will always remember you. God bless America.
and with endless love, appreciation, and admiration, my brother, FDNY Captain William O'Keefe.
Gerard Baptiste,
Walter Barron,
Gerard A. Barbara,
Paul Vincent Barbero,
James William Barbella,
Colleen Ann Barco,
Christine Jonna Barbuto,
Victor Daniel Barbosa,
David Michael Barkway,
Firefighter Matthew Barnes,
Melissa Rose Barnes,
Sheila Patricia Barnes,
Evan J. Barron,
Renee Barrett Arjun,
Arthur Thaddeus Berry,
Diane G. Berry,
Maurice Vincent Berry,
Scott D. Bart,
Carlton W. Bartels,
Guy Barbsey,
Ina B. Bassina,
Alyssa Christine Burton Bosmajan,
Kenneth William Besnicki,
Lieutenant Firefighter Stephen Joseph Bates,
Paul James Taglia,
W. David Bauer,
Ivan Luis Carpio Bautista,
Marlene Capito Bautista,
Mark Lawrence Bavis,
Jasper Baxter,
Lorraine G. Bay,
Michelle Beal,
Todd M. Beamer,
Paul Frederick Bettini,
Jane S. Beatty,
Alan Anthony Bevan,
Lawrence Ira Beck,
Manette Marie Beckles,
Carl John Bedigian,
Michael Ernest Beekman,
and my grandfather Carl W. Tepe. I hear many stories about him every day. Some make me laugh and some make me cry, but every story inspires me. Although I was never fortunate enough to meet my grandfather, he is my hero. I see parts of him in my everyday life, such as the color red, his favorite color, and I see him within my family. He is within my mom, my uncle, and my grandma, within my sister and little cousins, and I know there are parts of him within me, and I know that he is with me and my family in every step that we take.
and my grandfather, firefighter Alan Tarasarich. I would like to take this time to thank everyone who really keeps their word to never forget, so they are not forgotten. All the stories I hear about my grandfather, I've learned that he would do the same if he didn't die that day. The family misses and loves you.
Maria A. Bear,
Max J. Bilkey,
Yelena Bilalovsky,
Nina Patrice Bell,
Debbie S. Bellows,
Stephen Elliott Belson,
Paul M. Benedetti,
Denise Lenore Benedetto,
Brian Craig Bennett,
Eric L. Bennett,
Oliver Bennett,
Margaret L. Benson,
Dominic J. Berardi,
James Patrick Berger,
Stephen Howard Berger,
John P. Bergen,
Alvin Birdsong,
Daniel David Bergstein,
Graham Andrew Berkeley,
Michael J. Berkeley,
Donna M. Bernhardt,
David W. Bernard,
William H. Bernstein,
David M. Beret,
David Shelby Berry,
Joseph John Berry,
William Reed Bethke,
Yanene Beatru,
Timothy D. Betterly,
Carolyn Mayer Bug,
Edward Frank Baye,
Paul Michael Bear,
Anil Tahalram Belvrani,
Bella J. Buchan,
Shimmy D. Bigaliason,
Peter Alexander Bielfeld,
William G. Bigart,
Brian Eugene Bilcher,
Mark Bingham,
Carl Vincent Beanie,
and my brother Joseph Michael Giacconi. 23 years is like 23 seconds. On September 11th, my brother disappeared. But this place has become my altar. And this ceremony is essential. Because that day he disappeared, but if I come here and I speak his name out loud and you hear his name, he will never, never disappear. We love you and thank you.
and my great. And my grandfather, FDNY Captain James J. Corrigan. We love you so much and we miss you so much. Me and my 3 sisters wish we got to meet you.
Gary Eugene Bird,
Joshua David Birnbaum,
George John Bishop,
Chris Romeo Bishundat,
Jeffrey Donald Bittner,
Albert Balewa Blackman Jr.,
Christopher Joseph Blackwell,
Carrie Rosetta Blackburn,
Susan Leigh Blair,
Harry Blanding Jr.,
Janice Lee Blaney,
Craig Michael Blass,
Rita Blau,
Richard Middleton Blood Jr.,
Michael Andrew Bacardi,
John Paul Bocci,
Michael L. Bocchino,
Susan M. Bocchino,
Dira Francis Bodley,
Bruce Douglas Bone,
Mary Catherine Murphy Bofa,
Nicholas Andrew Bogdan,
Darren Christopher Bohan,
Lawrence Francis Bousseau,
Vincent M. Bolin Jr.,
Turi Hamzavi Belorchi,
Alan Bondarenko,
Andre Bonaire Jr.,
Colin Arthur Bonnet,
Frank J. Bonomo,
Yvonne Lucia Benamo,
Susan Booker Sr.,
Kelly Ann Booms,
Campbell D. Boone,
Mary Jane Booth,
Sherry Ann Boudreau,
Christine Bordanabe,
Jerry J. Borg,
Martin Michael Borashevsky,
Richard Edward Bosco,
and my uncle Kenneth Joseph Marino, who was a firefighter with FDNY Rescue 1 in Manhattan. He was one of the first responders on that day. I am 12 years old, so I never met my uncle Kenny, but I feel like I know him from my parents, grandparents, and family members. One thing I learned is that my uncle Kenny and I share a love of baseball. Our favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr., and I'm very happy and proud that we have the same interests. But most important is that my Uncle Kenny was a true hero. He saved many lives on that day. Our family misses him every day, and we will never forget his memory or his bravery.
my cousin Matthew Carmen Solito. Matthew, neither you nor the thousands who perished on 9/11 will ever be forgotten. What is being forgotten is the 9/11 experienced by every other American. I ask you today to speak to your children and your grandchildren who weren't born on 9/11. Tell them what you went through, tell them to never forget what your family went through on 9/11.
Klaus Botha,
Carol Marie Bouchard,
J. Howard Bolton,
Francisco Eligio Bourdier,
Thomas Harold Bowden Jr.,
Donna M. Bowen,
Kimberly S. Bowers,
Veronique Nicole Bowers,
Larry Bowman,
Sean Edward Bauman Jr.,
Kevin L. Bowser,
Gary R. Box,
Gennady Boyarsky,
Pamela Boyce,
Alan P. Boyle,
Michael Boyle,
Alfred J. Braca,
Sandra Konate Brace,
Kevin Hugh Bracken,
Sandy Waugh Bradshaw,
David Brian Brady,
Alexander Berginski,
Nicholas W. Brandmarty,
Daniel Raymond Brandhorst,
David Reed Gamboa Brandhorst,
Michelle Renee Bratton,
Patrice Brout,
Lydia Estelle Bravo,
Donald Michael Breitweiser,
Edward A. Brennan III,
Frank H. Brennan,
Michael E. Brennan,
Peter Brennan,
Thomas Moore Brennan,
Daniel J. Brethel,
Gary Lee Bright,
Jonathan Eric Briley,
Mark A. Brisman,
Paul Gary Bristow,
Marion R. Britton,
and my father, William Ralph Robb. Dad, we only got 6 years together, but I have nothing but the happiest memories, and every day I remember how lucky and how proud I am to be your daughter. Me, Mom, and Liam love and miss you so much.
and my mother, Imelda H. Perry. My mother was a beacon of kindness, wisdom, elegance, and grace. Her love was unconditional. Her spirit was indomitable. Along with my brother and my sister, we cherish the memories that you taught us. And even though you are not here with us, your memories will continue to live in our hearts and guide our actions. Thank you.
Mark Francis Broderick,
Herman Charles Brockhammer,
Keith A. Broomfield,
Bernard C. Brown II,
Janice J. Louis Brown,
Lloyd Stanford Brown,
Patrick John Brown,
Bettina B. Brown Radburn,
Mark Bruce,
Richard George Bruhert,
Andrew Brunn,
Vincent Edward Brunton,
Ronald Buca,
Brandon J. Buchanan,
Greg J. Buck,
Dennis Buckley,
John Edward Boluga Jr.,
Patrick Joseph Boos,
Christopher L. Burford,
Stephen Bruce Bunin,
Thomas Daniel Burke,
Matthew J. Burke,
Charles F. Burlingame III,
William Francis Burke Jr.,
Donald J. Burns,
Thomas E. Burnett Jr.,
Keith James Burns,
Kathleen Ann Burns,
Irina Buslow,
John Patrick Burnside,
Thomas M. Butler,
Milton G. Bustillo,
Timothy G. Byrne,
Patrick Dennis Byrne,
Jesus Neptali Cabezas,
Daniel M. Caballero,
Brian Joseph Cachia,
Lillian Casillas,
and my brother Robert Talhami. Your family and I love you and miss you so much. For the love you had for good food and wine, your good friend Peter Donovan and I have not missed a dinner in your honor for the last 23 years. Robert, my little brother, I know we will meet again. Until then, I love you and think of you every day.
and my uncle, James Bryan Riley. We love you and miss you so much, Uncle Jimmy. Even though I've never met you, I've heard so many stories about you to the point where it feels like I've known you for my whole life. You're a role model to me, and your kindness inspires me and the rest of our family to be the best people that we can be.
Richard Michael Caggiano,
Cecile Morella Calica,
John Brett Cahill,
Michael John Cahill,
Scott Walter Cahill,
Thomas Joseph Cahill,
George C. Kane,
Salvatore B. Cabral,
Joseph M. Calandrello,
Philip V. Cagaliano,
Edward Calderon,
Jose O. Calderon Omeda,
Kenneth Marcus Caldwell,
Dominic E. Cali,
Felix Bobby Calixte,
Francis Joseph Callahan.
Liam Callahan,
Suzanne M. Callie.
Gino Luigi Calvi,
Rocco Kamash.
Michael F. Camarata,
David O.T. Campbell.
Jeffrey Thomas Campbell,
Robert Arthur Campbell.
Sandra Patricio Campbell,
Sean Thomas Canavan.
John A. Candela,
Vincent A. Canalanzos.
Stephen J. Cangelosi,
Lisa Bella Canava.
Brian Canizaro,
Michael R. Canty.
Luis Anthony Caparisi,
Jonathan Neff Capello.
James Christopher Carpes,
Richard Michael Caproni.
Jose Manuel Cardona,
Dennis M. Carey Sr.
Edward Calino,
Michael Scott Carlo.
and my brother Emmanuel Akwesi Afuaka. You are a hero. May your soul and all departed souls keep resting in peace. And it's my prayer that this wicked act called terrorism will never occur again in the United States. God bless America.
And my father, Lieutenant Kenneth John Felix Sr. Dad, we miss you, including your wife Patty, your children, Aaron, Tanny, Kenny, and your grandchildren, Kendall, Kyle, and Callie Mae. I just want to be honored to be here and to wear your badge number as a police officer, and my brother as well, wearing your badge number as a fire department. God bless all the 9/11 families. Thank you.
David G. Carlone,
Rosemary C. Carlson,
Mark Stephen Carney,
Joyce Ann Carpenetto,
Jeremy Kaz Carrington,
Michael T. Carroll,
Peter J. Carroll,
James Joseph Carson Jr.,
Christopher Mikhail Karstinogen,
Angeline C. Carter,
James Marcel Cartier,
Sharon Ann Carver,
Vivian Casaldick,
John Francis Casaza,
Paul Reagan Cassio,
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey,
William Joseph Cashman,
Thomas Anthony Casoria,
William Otto Casper,
Alejandro Castaño,
Arcelio Castillo,
Leonard M. Castriano,
Jose Ramon Castro,
William E. Coswell,
Richard G. Catarelli,
Christopher Sean Caton,
Robert John Caulfield,
Mary Teresa Caulfield,
Judson Cavalier,
Michael Joseph Cawley,
Jason David Kane,
Juan Armando Ceballos,
Marcia G. Cecil Carter,
Jason Michael Cephalou,
Thomas Joseph Cecil,
Anna Mercedes Centeno,
Joni Sesta,
John J. Chada,
Jeffrey Mark Chernoff,
Swarna Chalasani,
and my cousin Gary M. Albero. Even though it's been 23 years, we hold your memory strong. Your love of family, meatballs, and of course the Yankees. We miss you every day and hope you're having a blast up there with Dad and Grandma and the rest of the family. And of course, God bless America.
and my sister Catherine McGarry Nowak. We miss you a lot.
William A. Chalkoff,
Eli Chalua,
Charles Lawrence Chan,
Mandy Chang,
Rosa Maria Chapa,
Mark Lawrence Charette,
David M. Charlebois,
Gregorio Manuel Chavez,
Pedro Francisco Checo,
Douglas Macmillan Cherry,
Stephen Patrick Cherry,
Vernon Paul Cherry,
Nestor Julio Chevalier,
Swede Joseph Chevalier,
Alexander H. Chiang,
Dorothy J. Chicharo,
Luis Alfonso Chimbo,
Robert Chin,
Eddie Wing Wei Ching,
Nicholas Paul Chofalo,
John G. Chiporo,
Peter A. Chicharillo,
Catherine Ellis Cheers,
Kyung Hee Casey Cho,
Abul K. Chowdhury,
Mohammed Salahuddin Chowdhury,
Kirsten Lael Christoph,
Pamela Chu,
Stephen Paul Chupnik,
Wei Ching Chung,
Christopher Chiafardini,
Alex F. Ciccone,
Francis Ann Salente,
Elaine Cielo,
Edna Cintrone,
Nestor Andre Cintron III,
Robert D. Siri Sr.,
Juan Pablo Cisneros,
Benjamin Keith Clark,
Eugene Clark,
and my father, FDNY Battalion Chief Oreo Joseph Palmer. A month from today, I'm getting married, and I'll be saving a seat for you and for Mom. Dana, Keith, and I are so proud to be your children.
and my uncle, Salvatore F. Pepe. Sal, the entire family misses you. I hope you see how well your son, little Sal, has turned out. Kathy has done an amazing job. We miss you. We'd love to have you around. We know and that you're looking out for us, so thank you for being our guardian angel.
Gregory Allen Clark,
Manny Leroy Clark,
Sarah M. Clark,
Thomas R. Clark,
Christopher Robert Clark,
Donna Marie Clark,
Michael J. Clark,
Saria Rachel Emma Clark,
Kevin Francis Cleary,
James D. Clear,
Jeffrey W. Cloud,
Susan Marie Klein,
Stephen Copley,
Jeffrey Allen Cole,
Patricia A. Cody,
Daniel Michael Coffey,
Jason Matthew Coffey,
Florence G. Cohen,
Kevin S. Cohen,
Anthony Joseph Coladonato,
Mark Joseph Caleo,
Stephen J. Caleo,
Christopher Michael Colasanti,
Kevin Nathaniel Colbert,
Michelle P. Colbert,
Keith E. Coleman,
Scott Thomas Coleman,
Terrell Coleman,
Liam Joseph Cahoon,
Robert D. Colon,
Robert J. Call,
Jean Marie Collin,
John Michael Collins,
Michael L. Collins,
Thomas Joseph Collins,
Joseph Kent Collison,
Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman,
Patricia Malaya Kolodner,
Linda M. Cologne,
Saul E. Cologne,
and my friend Susan Ruggiero, and also my brother, firefighter Michael Francis Lynch. I look forward to that day when we can all be together again. And may I ask everybody out there watching this to pray for unity and to pray for peace. Thank you.
my brother Robert T. Bobby Hughes Jr. and our family friend Judy Hazel Fernandez. Bobby, your beautiful and infectious smile and soul is missed and loved so much every day. You have no idea the major impact you and your life has had and left on all of our hearts.
We can't believe you're gone 23 years. The sadness and emptiness we all feel missing you is indescribable. Thank you for watching over all of us after all these years. You're loved and missed so much, and you are forever our hero and angel. We love you so much, Bobby.
Ronald Edward Comer,
Jaime Concepcion,
Albert Conde,
Denise Conley,
Susan P. Conlon,
Margaret Mary Connor,
Cynthia Marie Lease Connolly,
John E. Connolly Jr.,
James Lee Connor,
Jonathan M. Connors,
Kevin Patrick Connors,
Kevin F. Conroy,
Brenda E. Conway,
Dennis Michael Cook,
Helen D. Cook,
Jeffrey W. Coombs,
John A. Cooper,
Julian T. Cooper,
Joseph John Capo Jr.,
Gerard Coppola,
Joseph Albert Corbett,
John J. Corcoran III,
Alejandro Cordero,
Robert Joseph Cordes,
Ruben D. Correa,
Danny A. Correa Gutierrez,
Georgine Rose Corrigan,
James J. Corrigan,
Carlos Cortez Rodriguez,
Kevin Michael Cosgrove,
Dolores Marie Costa,
Digna Alexandra Costanza,
Charles Gregory Costello Jr.,
Michael S. Costello,
Asia S. Cottom,
Conroy Kofi Katoy Sr.,
Modern John Coughlin,
John J. G. Coughlin,
Timothy J. Coughlin,
James E. Cove,
and my uncle, Ol D. Wangachuk, who I've missed by 10 days, and who was taken from all of us. We all miss you, we all love you. Thank you, and God bless America.
and my aunt, Danielle Casulas. Although never fortunate enough to have met you, your memory still continues to live on from the stories of your selfless heart, your smile, and your tenacity for everything you set your mind to. The stories of your life inspire me every day. You inspired me to run my first marathon and to never give up on my dreams on attending the United States Coast Guard Academy to one day serve my country. You are my why. You are loved and you are missed and you will never be forgotten.
Andre Colin Cox,
Frederick John Cox,
James Raymond Coyle,
Michelle Coyen Ewan,
Christopher Seaton Kramer,
Eric A. Cranford,
Denise Elizabeth Krant,
James Leslie Crawford Jr.,
Robert James Crawford,
Tara Kathleen Kramer,
Joanne Mary Cregan,
Lucia Crisfasa,
John A. Creasy,
Daniel Hall Chrisma,
Dennis A. Cross,
Kevin R. Crotty,
Thomas G. Crotty,
John R. Cray,
Wellis Remy Crother,
Robert L. Cruikshank,
John Robert Cruz,
Grace Agro Culo,
Kenneth John Cubas,
Francisco Cruz Cabero,
Thelma Cuccinello,
Richard Joseph Cudillo,
Neil James Cudmore,
Thomas Patrick Collins III,
Joan Cullinan,
Joyce Rose Cummings,
Brian Thomas Cummins,
Michael Joseph Cunningham,
Robert Curatolo,
Loris Demain Culo,
Paul Dario Curioli,
Patrick Joseph Curvin,
Beverly L. Curry,
Andrew Peter Charles Curry Green,
Michael Sean Curtin,
Patricia Cusher,
and my uncle, firefighter Edward James White III. Even though I never got to meet you, Uncle Teddy, From all the great stories I hear, I feel like I know you. We all love and miss you. You will forever be our hero.
And my grandfather, Michael D. Dio. Everyone who knew him lost a real friend, and for all of us in our family, he has left a place that can never be filled. We love you, Papa.
Gavin Kushney.
Caleb Aaron Dack.
Carlos S. DaCosta.
Jason M. Dahl.
Brian Paul Dale.
NYPD Police Officer John DeLara.
Vincent Gerard Demadeo.
Thomas A. Damaskinos.
Jack L. D'Ambrosi Jr.
Janine Damiani Jones.
Manuel Joao Demota.
Patrick W. Danahy.
Mary D'Antonio.
Petty Officer 2nd Class Vincent G. Dans.
Dwight Donald Darcy.
Elizabeth Ann Darling.
Annette Andrea Dotteran.
Lieutenant Edward A. Diatri.
Firefighter Michael D. Dioria.
Lawrence Davidson.
Michael Allen Davidson.
Firefighter Scott Matthew Davidson.
Titus Davidson.
Nierka Davila.
Ada M. Davis.
Port Authority Police Officer Clinton Davis Sr.
Wayne Terriel Davis.
Anthony Richard Dawson.
Calvin Dawson.
Firefighter Edward James Day.
William Thomas Dean.
Firefighter Robert J. DeAngelis Jr.
Battalion Chief Thomas Patrick DeAngelis.
Dorothy Alma de Araujo.
Ana Gloria Pocasangre de Barrera.
Tara E. DeBeck.
James D. Debonier.
Anna M. Devin.
James V. de Blasi Jr.
Gisaril Malabuyak de Chavez. Uncle Firefighter Joseph Patrick Henry. Uncle Joey, although we never met you, you will always be remembered. We see your sense of humor and big heart in all our family members.
You should be here laughing with us at our family gatherings in Breezy Point or winning big at Left Right Center on Christmas Day, but we know you are watching over us with Papa and Aunt Mary.
We promise to continue telling your stories and will never let anyone forget all those lost on September 11th.
Paul DeColo.
Gerald F. DeCanto.
Simon Morash Dedvukash.
Jason Christopher DeFazio.
David A. DeFeo.
Jennifer De Jesus.
Monique Effie De Jesus.
Nareda De Jesus.
Emmy De La Pena.
Donald Arthur De La Pena.
Azucena Maria De La Torre.
Vito Joseph Delio.
Danielle Ann Deli.
Andrea Della Bella.
Joseph A. Della Pietro.
Palmina Delegati.
Colleen Ann DeLowry.
Joseph DeLuca.
Manuel Del Valle Jr.
Francis Albert De Martini.
Anthony DeMoss.
Martin N. DeMeo.
Francis Deming.
Carol Keys Demitz.
Kevin Dennis.
Thomas Francis Dennis Sr.
Jean C. De Palma.
Jose Nicholas De Pena.
Robert John Duraney.
Michael DeRienzo.
David Paul DeRubio.
Jamal Legas DeSantis.
Christian Louis DeSimone.
Edward DeSimone III.
Andrew J. Desperito.
Michael Jude D'Esposito.
Cindy Ann Duell.
Melanie Louise DeVere.
Jerry DeVito.
Robert P. Devitt Jr.
And my uncle, Matthew J. Burke. It is with great pride that I carry on your name. You are loved and missed dearly. Even though you're not here with us, you are forever in our hearts. God bless my Uncle Matt, and God bless America.
And my uncle, Thomas Joseph Collins. Uncle Tommy, you were the life of the party and had an infectious smile that could light up any room. We know you're up there with Grandma and Grandpa watching over all of us. We love you, we miss you, and you were never forgotten.
Dennis Lawrence Devlin.
Gerard P. Dewan.
Suleimani Kasamali Danani.
Michael Louis D'Agostino.
Matthew Diaz.
Nancy Diaz.
Obdulio Ruiz Diaz.
Michael A. Diaz Piedra III.
Judith Berquist Diaz Sierra.
Patricia Florence D. Chiaro.
Rodney Dickens.
Jerry D. Dickerson.
Joseph Dermot Dickey Jr.
Lawrence Patrick Dickinson.
Michael D. Deal.
John DeFato.
Vincent Francis DeFazio.
Carl Anthony DeFranco.
Donald Joseph DeFranco.
John D. Giovanni.
Eddie A. Dillard.
Deborah Ann DiMartino.
David DeMiglio.
Stephen Patrick Domino.
William John Dimling.
Marissa DiNardo Shorp.
Christopher Moore Dinka.
Jeffrey Mark Dingle.
Rena Sam Deneau.
Anthony Dionisio.
George DiPasquale.
Joseph D. Pilato.
Douglas Franks D. Stefano.
Donald Americo DiTullio.
Ramsey A. Dewani.
Johnny Doctor Jr.
John Joseph Doherty.
Melissa Candida Doy.
Brendan Dolan.
Robert E. Dolan Jr.
And my uncle Cesaro Malabuyok de Chavez. Tito, you're the man who I am honored to get my name from. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well and watching down on us. Although I've never got the chance to meet you in person, it's clear you've made a significant impact on those around you. Nanay, Ninang, Lolo, and Lola all speak very highly of you and your accomplishments. The amount of respect they all have for you is evident. It's unfortunate you're not able to tell me these stories and accomplishments yourself. However, your siblings and parents will always make sure to share your stories for you. Through us, your family, will make sure you are never forgotten and your legacy will live on. Tito, wherever you are, I hope you finally found peace. Mahal na mahal kita.
And my uncle, firefighter Frankie Esposito, and cousin, Captain Michael Esposito. As I get older, it gets harder to see the sadness amongst my family with you gone, but our grief is just our love with nowhere to go. We're proud of you, we love you, and we'll never stop walking down memory lane to run into you. I'll continue to share your legacies with the younger generations as to never forget. God bless the lives lost this day, and God bless America.
Neil Matthew Dollard.
James DeMonico.
Benilda Pasqua Domingo.
Alberto Dominguez.
Carlos Dominguez.
Jerome Mark Patrick Dominguez.
Kevin W. Donnelly.
Jacqueline Donovan.
William H. Donovan.
Stephen Scott Dorff,
Thomas Dowd,
Kevin Christopher Dowdell,
Mary Yolanda Dowling,
Raymond Matthew Downey Sr.,
Frank Joseph Doyle,
Joseph Michael Doyle,
Randall L. Drake,
Patrick Joseph Driscoll,
Stephen Patrick Driscoll,
Charles A. Droz III,
Myrna A. Duarte,
Luke A. Dudek,
Christopher Michael Duffy,
Gerard J. Duffy,
Michael Joseph Duffy,
Thomas W. Duffy,
Antoinette Duger,
Jackie Sayeg Duggan,
Sariv Ducat,
Patrick Dunn,
Felicia Gale Dunn-Jones,
Christopher Joseph Dunn,
Richard Anthony Dunstan,
Patrick Thomas Dwyer,
Joseph Anthony Ikabachi,
John Bruce Eagleson,
Edward T. Earhart,
Robert Douglas Eaton,
Dean Philip Eberling,
Margaret Ruth Echterman,
and my younger brother, Robert Thomas Linane. Bob, as you are known to most of your vast circle of family and friends, you are missed and remembered. Your spirit lives on through your nieces and nephew. Keep an eye out for all of us down here. Thank you to everyone involved with this ceremony. Thank you to everyone tuning in at home. It's up to us to ensure everyone is remembered and to avoid this ever happening again.
and my cousin, Michelle Marie Reed. Michelle had a remarkable zest for life, always greeting each day with a smile that could light up any room. Her fearlessness in taking risks and embracing new challenges in life was truly inspiring. Not only was Michelle a hard worker, she was a dedicated individual who always placed family above all else, balancing her weekdays at Aeon on the 100th floor of the South Tower with weekends spent at her family's farm in upstate New York. She loved working on the farm and was known for blazing through trails on her four-wheeler with enthusiasm, always taking time to admire the forget-me-not flowers by the stream. Her unwavering commitment to her loved ones, never missing a family gathering or celebration, and her infectious smile will be cherished in our hearts forever. Michelle had a deep passion for photography, capturing the world's beauty and treasured moments through her lens. Her photographs continue to remind us of her unique perspective and the special times we shared. Michelle's family and friends think of her every day, each of us finding our own way to honor her legacy and celebrate the extraordinary life she lived. We love you always.
Paul Robert Ekna,
Constantine Economos,
Barbara G. Edwards,
Dennis Michael Edwards,
Michael Hardy Edwards,
Christine Egan,
Lisa Erin Egan,
Martin J. Egan Jr.,
Michael Egan,
Samantha Martin Egan,
Carol Eggert,
Lisa Karen Ehrlich,
John Ernst Eichler,
Eric Adam Eisenberg,
Daphne Frolinda Elder,
Michael J. Alferis,
Mark Joseph Ellis,
Valerie Silver Ellis,
Albert Alfie William Elmare,
Robert R. Elseth,
Edgar Hendricks Emery Jr.,
Doris Suk Yuen Eng,
Christopher Epps,
Ulf Ram Erickson,
Erwin L. Erker,
William John Irwin,
Sarah Ali Escarcega,
Jose Espinal,
Fanny Espinoza,
Billy Scoop Esposito,
Bridget Ann Esposito,
Francis Esposito,
Michael A. Esposito,
Ruben Esquilin Jr.,
Sadie Etty,
Barbara G. Etzold,
Eric Brian Evans,
Robert Edward Evans,
Meredith Emily June Ewart,
Catherine K. Fagan,
and my son, Paul Robert Eckman. Once again, we are reading the names of the innocent victims who lost their lives on this very, very sad day in America. And our son, Paul, you are our shining star and forever in our broken hearts.
And my grandfather, firefighter Robert James Crawford. As the years pass, I can't help but think of everything you should be here for. But in hindsight, I know you've been with us all along, giving us the strength to go on. Just know in everything we do it for you. We will never forget. God bless America.
Patricia Mary Fagan.
Ivan Krylos Fairbos Barbosa.
Keith George Fairbin.
Sandra Frajado Smith.
Charles S. Falkenberg.
Dana Falkenberg.
Zoe Falkenberg.
Jamie L. Fallon.
William F. Fallon.
William Lawrence Fallon Jr.
Anthony J. Fallone Jr.
Doris Bridget Finelli.
Robert John Fangman.
FDNY John Joseph Fanning.
Kathleen Ann Farragher.
Thomas James Farino.
Nancy C. Dolazicki Farley.
Paige Marie Farley Hackle.
Elizabeth Ann Farmer.
Douglas John Farnham.
John Gerard Farrell.
John W. Farrell.
Terrence Patrick Farrell.
Joseph D. Farrelly.
Thomas Patrick Farrelly.
Syed Abdul Fath.
Christopher Edward Fawnin.
Wendy R. Faulkner.
Shannon Marie Fava.
Bernard D. Fazuzza.
Robert Fazio Jr.
Ronald Carl Fazio Sr.
William M. Feehan.
Francis Jude Feely.
Garth Aaron Feeney.
Sean Bernard Fegan.
Lee S. Felling.
Peter Adam Feidelberg.
Alan D. Feinberg.
Rosa Marie Feliciano.
And my brother, T.J. Hargrave, who, like all of your loved ones, was taken from us way too soon.
And my husband, FDNY Chief Gerard A. Barbara. My husband, Jerry, was a Navy veteran and a member of the FDNY for 31 years. On September 11, 2001, 2,977 innocent people were murdered by radical Islamic terrorists. My husband of 30 years was one of them. It is outrageous that our government would ever entertain the thought of granting the terrorists a plea deal. If not for the outcry of the 9/11 community, who knows what might have transpired. It has been 23 years and the families deserve justice and accountability. The elected officials here today show their respect and reverence to the families on September 11th. Or in our president's words, do 9/11, quite a flippant remark. But please remember that the September 11th families live it every day, not just on the anniversary. In conclusion, may God bless those battling September 11th illnesses, our first responders, and the military here and abroad. May God bless America and never forget.
Edward P. Felt.
Edward Thomas Fergus Jr.
George J. Ferguson III.
J. Joseph Ferguson.
Henry Fernandez.
Judy Hayes Harris.
David Francis Ferrugio.
Louis V. Forsini Jr.
Michael David Ferrugio.
Bradley James Fetchit.
Jennifer Louise Fialco.
Kristen Nicole Fido.
Amelia V. Fields.
Samuel Fields.
Alexander Milan Filipov.
Michael Bradley Finnegan.
Timothy J. Finnerty.
Michael C. Fiore.
Stephen J. Fiorelli.
Paul M. Fiore.
John B. Fiorito.
John R. Fisher.
Andrew Fisher.
Bennett Lawson Fisher.
Gerald P. Fisher.
John Roger Fisher.
Thomas J. Fisher.
Lucy A. Fishman.
Ryan D. Fitzgerald.
Thomas James Fitzpatrick.
Richard P. Fitzsimmons.
Salvatore Fiumefreddo.
Darlene E. Flagg.
Wilson F. Flagg.
Christina Donovan Flannery.
Eileen Fletcher.
Patty's daughter had graduated from the Pentagon Daycare Center a week earlier. And she had just had her first day of kindergarten. And so Patty told her younger sister all about it. And then they went their separate ways. That was their last conversation. Kathy was devastated by Patty's murder. But she channeled her anguish into service by working with the Pentagon Memorial Fund. And Kathy says, that was a tie that kept me here. And we are grateful that Kathy is here with us today. After 9/11, the staff, the family members, and the children of the Pentagon Daycare Center donated a small plaque in the Pentagon courtyard. It honors Patty and Shelley Marshall, another DIA teammate slain on 9/11. And her young children were at the daycare center that morning. Now, Shelley Marshall's daughter, Chandler, is now a lawyer who has helped to care for Afghan refugees. And her son, Drake, is now training at Fort Liberty to become a Special Forces soldier. They're both here today with their father, Don, who raised them with such love. And the plaque in the Pentagon courtyard for Patty Mickley and Shelley Marshall reads, "They are not gone who live in the hearts of others. They are not gone who live in the hearts of others." After 9/11, fear turned to resolve, and resolve turned to action and to service. And for proof of that, we can look to the life of Kevin Schaefer. On the morning of 9/11, Kevin was a lieutenant on duty in the Pentagon's Navy Command Center. As he watched the news from New York, he was knocked to the ground by the force of a fireball. Nearly half of Kevin's body was terribly burned. But somehow, he crawled through the rubble toward the rescue. And for 3 months, Kevin fought hard in the burn unit just to survive. And he still carries the scars of 9/11. You know, Al-Qaeda's attack on the Pentagon ended Kevin's service to the Navy, but not to our country. Kevin thought hard about what to do next. And he raised his hand to serve once more, this time as a civilian. In 2003, he was selected as one of the professional staff members on the 9/11 Commission. And at his unremarkable government desk, in his unremarkable government cubicle, Kevin chose to put up the pictures of the 9/11 hijackers. And on the commission, he worked to shed truth and clarity on the evil that those 19 terrorists chose to commit. In the wake of 9/11, Americans like Kevin and Kathy turned grief into grace and agony into resolve. And stories like theirs remind us of what we've lost, but they also remind us of who we are. We are the United States of America. We do not bend to terror. And in uncertain times, our compass remains our Constitution. This department does not just defend our country and our citizens, it also defends America's founding values of democracy, freedom, and liberty under law. And those beliefs have inspired generations of patriots to step forward and to wear the cloth of our nation. And they still do. You know, only about 6% of today's troops were in uniform on 9/11. And some of our troops, about 21% of our troops, were born after 9/11. And some of our troops enlisted or were commissioned after 9/11 as our country came together in sorrow and determination. And others joined years later, spurred on by an enduring spirit of service. And we are profoundly grateful to them all. We thank the military families who make their service possible. And today of all days, I want to especially thank my fellow veterans of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. In the memory of every American soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, and public servant who lost their lives in the wars that America fought after 9/11, we bow our heads. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States military remains the greatest fighting force on earth. And not just because of our might, but because of our people. And we will always strive to carry forward the values of the teammates who we lost here 23 years ago. Their memory is our mission, and their families are our families too. You have endured endless sorrow and unimaginable pain with unimaginable strength. We stand with you today and every day. And we rededicate ourselves to living up to the example and the goodness of your loved ones. With a spirit of shared duty, with deep love for our country, and with an unbreakable devotion to our democracy. They are not gone who live in the hearts of others. May the memory of the fallen be a blessing. May God provide comfort to all who mourn. May God protect our troops, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
and my grandfather, Richard J. O'Connor. We will always love and miss you.
Timothy Paul Gilbert.
Paul Stewart Gilbey.
Paul John Gill.
Mark Y. Gillis.
Evan Hunter Gillette.
Ronald Lawrence Gilligan.
Rodney C. Gillis.
Laura Gilly.
John F. Ginley.
Donna Marie Giordano.
Jeffrey John Giordano.
John Giordano.
Stephen A. Giorgetti.
Martin Giovinazzo.
Kumkum Girolamo.
Salvatore Gito.
Cynthia Giugliano.
Man John Balaj.
Diane Gladstone.
Keith Alexander Glasgow.
Thomas Irwin Glasser.
Edmund Glaser.
Harry Glenn.
Barry H. Glick.
Jeremy Logan Glick.
Stephen Glick.
John T. Nazzo.
William Robert Gottschalk.
Michael Gallo Aramella.
Brian F. Goldberg.
Jeffrey G. Goldflam.
Michelle Goldstein.
Monica Goldstein.
Stephen Ian Goldstein.
Ronald F. Galinsky.
Andrew H. Gulkin.
Dennis James Gomes.
Enrique Antonio Gomez.
Jose Benvenido Gomez.
Manuel Gomez Jr.
And my husband, Peter Mutos. Thank you to all who keep us safe in the armed forces. And in remembrance of my husband's deceased father, Colonel Gus Mutos, survived by his wife, Lieutenant Colonel Lynette Mutos.
And my brother, firefighter Michael Francis Lynch. Your boys were 6 months and 3 years old when you were murdered. You did a beautiful job, and you'd be very proud of them. And you only know what we're going through when it happens to you. Others have empathy. So let's all think about what's happening right now in other countries when barbarians are instilling terror in people. Let's not forget that. This is continuing. This has to stop.
Wilder Alfredo Gomez.
Janine Nicole Gonzalez.
Mauricio Gonzalez.
Rosa J. Gonzalez.
Lynn Catherine Goodchild.
Calvin Joseph Gooding.
Peter Morgan Goodrich.
Harry Goody.
Kiran Kumar Reddy Gopu.
Catherine C. Garea.
Lisa Fenn Gordenstein.
Corrine Gordon.
Sebastian Gorky.
Kieran Joseph Gorman.
Thomas Edward Gorman.
Michael Edward Gold.
O. Kristen Osterholm White Gould.
Douglas Allen Gawel.
Yugi Goya.
John Richard Grabowski.
Christopher Michael Grady.
Edwin J. Graff III,
David Martin Graffman,
Gilbert Franco Granados,
Lauren Katsuzi Grandcolas and her unborn child,
Elvira Granito,
Winston Arthur Grant,
Christopher S. Gray,
Ian J. Gray,
FDNY firefighter James Michael Gray,
Tara McLeod Gray,
John M. Grazioso,
Timothy George Grazioso,
Derek Arthur Green,
Wade B. Green,
Wanda Anita Green,
Elaine Myra Greenberg,
Donald Freeman Green,
Gail R. Green,
James Arthur Greenleaf Jr.,
and my beautiful mother, Barbara P. Walsh. Mommy, we miss you. You became a great grandma this year, Mom. We miss your smile, your love, and your delicious meals. Please continue to watch over us. And to our presidents, Trump and Vice President Morris, we are pleading for your help, but you ignore us. Over the last year, we sent a signed pledge over 3,000 family members asking you to help us bring us justice and closure and hold Saudi Arabia accountable. Well, which one of you will have the courage to be our hero? We deserve better. God bless America.
and my godfather and uncle Richard S. Gabriel. We will never forget you. You are still smiling down upon us, and we know it. I want to give a shout out, as I always do, to the first responders, especially to Battalion Chief Oreo Palmer and Fire Marshal Ronald Buca, who died trying to save my family and your family members' lives as well. To all first responders, to those who are still battling from 9/11 related illnesses, and many who've already lost their lives from it. And finally, I have sunflowers every year, not just because they remind me of my Uncle Richie, but because in a time of such profound darkness, they always look for the light. And I think we all need to look for the light. I know a lot of us are feeling very strong emotions, and it's a political time. This is not about politics. Thank you for having this service for our beloved family members. Thank you.
Eileen Marcia Greenstein,
Elizabeth Martin Gregg,
Denise Marie Gregory,
Donald H. Gregory,
John Michael Griffin,
Pedro Graham,
Joan Donna Griffith,
Tawana Sherry Griffin,
Ramon B. Grijalvo,
Warren Grifka,
David Joseph Grimner,
Joseph F. Grillo,
Linda Gronlund,
Francis Edward Grogan,
Joseph Grzilak,
Kenneth George Gruzales,
Robert Joseph Gashar,
Matthew James Grismalski,
Cindy Yan Zhu Guan,
Li Ming Gu,
Joseph P. Gullickson,
Jose A. Guadalupe,
Douglas Brian Gorian,
Jeffrey E. Guja,
Philip T. Guza,
Babita Girjamati Guman,
Peter Mark Galavani,
Janet Ruth Gustafson,
Andrea Lynn Haberman,
Barbara
Guzardo.
Philip Hensler.
Gary Robert Hay.
Karen Elizabeth Haggerty.
Barbara Mary Habib.
Mary Lou Haig.
Nizam A. Hafiz.
And my brother Barry Simowitz. Barry
Stephen.
Oh, I'm sorry, go finish.
Stephen Michael Hoggis. David Halderman.
And my brother Barry Simowitz. After 21 years, we miss you. We love you. We think about you all the time. You're very hard to forget. God bless you, all the survivors, all the victims, and God bless America.
Okay. And my husband, Philip Hensler, who is truly a phenomenal person who's gone too soon. He's my best friend for life. I miss you more than words could ever express. My heart aches every day for you, and the loss has changed my life in many ways. I'll always miss and love you, my living angel, and God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America.
Miley Raquel Hale.
Diane Hale McKinsey.
Richard B. Hall.
Stanley R. Hall.
Vaswald George Hall.
Robert J. Halligan.
Vincent Gerard Halloran.
Carolyn B. Holman.
James Douglas Halvorsen.
Mohammed Salman Hamdani.
Felicia Hamilton.
Robert W. Hamilton.
Carl Max Hammond Jr.
Frederick K. Hahn.
Christopher James Hanley.
Sean S. Hanley.
Valerie Joan Hanna.
Thomas Paul Hannafin.
Kevin James Hannaford Sr.
Michael Lawrence Hannon.
Dana Ray Hannon.
Christine Lee Hansen.
Peter Burton Hansen.
Sue Kim Hansen.
Vasilios G. Haramis.
James A. Haran.
Gerald Francis Hardacre.
Jeffrey Pike Hardy.
T.J. Hargrave.
Daniel Edward Harlan.
Francis Harros.
Harvey L. Harrell.
Stephen G. Harrell.
Melissa Harrington Hughes.
Aisha Ann Harris.
Stuart D. Harris.
John Patrick Hart.
Eric Hartono.
John Clinton Hartz.
Emmerich Harvey.
And my Aunt Margaret M. Seeliger, who, even though I missed the chance on meeting, inspires me every day to live up to her. You have brought our family together in so many ways, and we wish you were here celebrating your life with us. I am so proud to call you my aunt, and so proud to say I have reminded people of you from time to time. Our hero forever. I love you.
And FDNY Captain Brian Christopher Hickey of Rescue Company 4, Brothers in Battle. I want to remember the sacrifices of all those during the rescue, recovery, and rebuilding efforts. Those we've lost since, and those who continue to fight with their 9/11 illnesses every day. Because of the work you did here at this hallowed ground, it is because of you that I'm proud to be the son of a New York City fireman, proud to be a local 40 iron worker, and proud to be an American. Captain Hickey, we will never forget. The battle continues.
Peter Paul Hashim,
Thomas Theodore Haskell Jr.,
Timothy Sean Haskell,
Joseph John Hassan III,
Leonard W. Hatton Jr.,
Terrence S. Hatton,
Michael Helmut Hobb,
Timothy Aaron Haviland,
Donald G. Havlish Jr.,
Anthony Maurice Hawkins,
Norrico Hattuso,
James Edward Hayden,
Robert J. Hayes,
Philip T. Hayes,
W. Ward Haynes,
Scott Jordan Hazelcorn,
Michael K. Healy,
Roberta B. Heber,
Charles Francis Xavier Haran,
John F. Heffernan,
Michael M. Herrenberger,
Sheila M.S. Hine,
H. Joseph Heller Jr.,
Joanne L. Heltebridle,
Ronald John Hemingway,
Mark F. Hemscott,
Ronnie Lee Henderson,
Brian Hennessy,
Edward R. Hennessy Jr.,
Michelle Marie Henrique,
Joseph Patrick Henry,
William L. Henry Jr.,
Katrina Henry Robinson,
John Christopher Henwood,
Robert Allen Helprin,
Mary Herencia,
Lindsay C. Harkness III,
Harvey Robert Hermer,
Norberto Hernandez,
Raul Hernandez,
and my brother Rudolph Enrichio.
and my uncle Daryl LaRon McKenney, also known as Uncle Pop. I had only spent my first 11 months with you. Now I'm turning 24 next month and pursuing my law school journey. I want to thank you for being our guardian angel. The family and I love you, and we miss you.
Gary Harold,
Jeffrey Allen Hirsch,
Thomas J. Hitzel,
Leon Bernard Hayward, MC Sundance,
Brian Christopher Hickey,
Enemencio Dario Hidalgo Cedeno,
Timothy Brian Higgins,
Robert D.W. Higley II,
Todd Russell Hill,
Clara Victorine Hines,
Neil O. Hins,
Mark Hindi,
Katsuyuki Hararai,
Heather Malia Ho,
Tara Yvette Hobbs,
Thomas Anderson Hobbs,
James J. Hobbin,
Robert Wayne Hobson III,
Dewan Hodges,
Ronald G. Horner,
Patrick A. Hoey,
John A. Hofer,
Marcia Hoffman,
Stephen Gerard Hoffman,
Frederick Joseph Hoffman,
Michelle L. Hoffman,
Judith Florence Hoffmiller,
Wallace Cole Hogan Jr.,
Thomas Warner Holwick Jr.,
Jonathan Homan,
Cora Hadalago Holland,
John Holland,
Joseph F. Holland,
Jimmy I. Holly,
Elizabeth Holmes,
Thomas P. Holohan,
Herbert Wilson Homer,
Leroy W. Homer Jr.,
Bradley V. Horn,
James P. Hopper,
and my brother, Roland Pacheco. Ro, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of you. I miss you so much. Mom, Dad, Rob, Ronnie, your two sons, your nieces and nephew, miss you as well. May you continue to rest in peace. I love you till the day we meet again.
It's my cousin, Thomas Anthony Casoria, firefighter from Engine Company 22, to the nearly 3,000 people who died on 9/11, as well as the thousands who have died since from the diseases they developed, to our first responders who died trying to save lives on 9/11, You are our heroes. Your memory is alive in our hearts, and your sacrifice is honored today and every day.
Montgomery McCullough Horde.
Michael Joseph Horn.
Matthew Douglas Horning.
Robert L. Horoho Jr.
Michael Robert Horrocks.
Aaron Horwitz.
Charles J. Houston.
Uhuru G. Houston.
Angela M. Houts.
George Gerard Howard.
Brady K. Howell.
Michael C. Howell.
Stephen Leon Howell.
Jennifer L. Howley.
Milagros Romado.
Marianne R. Hurichak.
Stephen Hutchko Jr.
Chris Robert Hughes.
Paul Rexford Hughes.
Robert T. Hughes Jr.
Thomas F. Hughes Jr.
Timothy Robert Hughes.
Susan Huey.
Lamar Demetrius Hulse.
John Nicholas Humber Jr.
William Christopher Hunt.
Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey.
Joseph Gerard Hunter.
Peggy M. Hurt.
Robert R. Husa.
Stephen N. Highland Jr.
Robert J. Heimel.
Thomas Edward Hines.
Walter G. Hines.
Joseph Anthony Iannelli.
Zutu Elis.
Jonathan Lee Eopi.
Michael Patrick Eichen.
Daniel Ilkaneyev.
Frederick J. Ill Jr.
And my uncle, firefighter Salvatore Benedetto Calabro.
And my aunt, Nancy Diaz. We miss you every passing day. There isn't a day where our family does not think about you. All I can say is that your daughter misses you very much, and we give out food in your name as you would do if you were in our position. We miss you every day, and God bless America.
Abraham Nathaniel Ilowitz.
Anthony P. Alfonte Jr.
Louis S. Inglaterra.
Christopher Noble Ingracia.
Paul Inella.
Stephanie Veronica Iberi.
Douglas Jason Eargang.
Christian Irene Ryan.
Todd Antione Isaac.
Eric Hans in Bronston.
Taizo Ishikawa.
Wally Joseph Inskander.
Aram Iskandarian Jr.
John F. Eiskin.
Kashugi Ito.
Alexander Valovich Instroff.
Lacey Bernard Ivory.
Virginia May Lomboski.
Brian C. Jack.
Brooke Alexander Jackman.
Aaron Jeremy Jacobs.
Arul Lewis Jacobs.
Jason Kyle Jacobs.
Michael G. Jacobs.
Stephen A. Jacobson.
Stephen D. Jacoby.
Ricknoth Jaggernoth.
Jake Dennis Gadova.
Udavir S. Jane.
Maria Quebec.
Robert Adrian Jalbert.
Ernest James.
Griselda E. James.
Mark Stephen Jardim.
Amy Nicole Jarrett.
Mamadou Javada.
Francois Jean Pierre.
Maximina Jean Pierre.
Paul Edward Jeffers.
John Charles Jenkins.
And my husband, Fire Safety Director Robert J. Mayo. I wish in some way you are viewing through my proud eyes to see our precious granddaughter who carries your name forward, and the light of our lives, our resilient, sweet son, along with the support of his beautiful, supportive wife, who has allowed his grief to subside in order to thrive, to be an incredible, loving husband and father. I miss you terribly. I'm proud of your service. You're my hero, and we must never forget.
And my sister Abigail Medina, which I always have the hope in meeting up again. And Abby, this is from your daughter, Enid. On 9/11, I lost my best friend. My mom was my guide emotionally, spiritually, and even just as a New York fashionista. Everything came so effortlessly to her, and I always admire that. Her words felt rich and meaningful. They kept an everlasting impression to instill on my three daughters, not only for me, but for all her family who got left behind. She was a light in our family that will never go out. Thank you.
Joseph Jenkins Jr.,
Alan Keith Jensen,
Prem Nath Jarath,
Farah Judy,
Wadar Gian,
Eliza Jimenez Jr.,
Luis Jimenez Jr.,
Charles Gregory John,
Nicholas John,
Dennis M. Johnson,
Lashona Johnson,
Scott Michael Johnson,
William R. Johnston,
Allison Hartzman Jones,
Arthur Joseph Jones III,
Brian Leander Jones,
Charles Edward Jones,
Christopher D. Jones,
Donald T. Jones II,
Donald W. Jones,
Judith Lauder Jones,
Linda Jones,
Mary S. Jones,
Andrew Brian Jordan the Senior,
Robert Thomas Jordan,
Albert Gunnis Joseph,
Ingeborg Joseph,
Carl Henry Joseph,
Stephen Joseph,
Jane Eileen Josiah,
Anthony Jovic,
Angel Al Warbay Jr.,
Karen Sue Juday,
Ann C. Judge,
Father Michael F. Judge,
Paul Williams Jurgens,
Thomas Edward Jurgens,
Shashikiran Lakshmikanta Kadabba,
Gavharoy Kamardanova,
Sherry Candle,
and my uncle, firefighter John G. Chipora, Engine 219. Uncle John, while I do not remember the 9 months I had with you, your accomplishments and personality have always been a constant in my life. When I see Boy Scouts, Marines, police officers, or firefighters, my thoughts go to you and your life of service. When I see acts of kindness, determination, and above all loyalty, I think of you and everything my father and aunts have told me about your dedication to our family. I have grown in the light of your memory, and it has made me a better person. I hold these thoughts close today, and I say a prayer for you, as well as the other victims and their families. May you and every victim of this tragic day always be honored and remembered.
And my brother Anil Umarkar. Anil, today is your daughter Womika's first day of graduate school. Please give her your blessings and keep smiling on her. And my husband Ganesh K. Ladkat. Honey, I love you. I miss you.
You'll be happy to know that I'm married now to a wonderful man who's a volunteer firefighter in our town, takes care of me every single day. I love you and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Howard Lee Kane.
Jennifer Lynn Kane.
Vincent D. Kane.
Jun Ku Kang.
Sheldon Robert Cantor.
Deborah H. Kaplan.
Robin Lynn Kaplan.
Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr.
Charles H. Kaczynski.
William A. Carnes.
Douglas Jean Karpoloff.
Charles L. Casper.
Andrew K. Cates.
John A. Katsamatides.
Robert Michael Colfers.
Don Jerome Kauth Jr.
Hidea Kawachi.
Edward T. Keene.
Richard M. Keene.
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin.
Carol Ann Kiesler.
Barbara A. Keating.
Paul Hanlon Keating.
Leo Russell Keene III.
Brenda Kegler.
Chandler Raymond Keller.
Joseph John Keller.
Peter R. Kellerman.
Joseph P. Kellett.
Frederick H. Kelly III.
James Joseph Kelly.
Joseph A. Kelly.
Maurice P. Kelly.
Richard John Kelly Jr.
Thomas Michael Kelly.
Thomas Richard Kelly.
Thomas W. Kelly.
Timothy Colin Kelly.
William Hill Kelly Jr.
Robert Clinton Kennedy.
And my uncle, Ian Schneider, who I know would be so proud of his beautiful family, Cheryl, Sophie, Rachel, and Jake. We miss you in the good times and the bad, but most of the times the good, because you made everything that much better. Yo, dude.
And my father, Keith Coleman, and my uncle, Scott Coleman. Not a day goes by that we don't wish you were here and think about you. Thank you for leaving a legacy so strong that your memory lives on. Thank you to the first responders, the United States military, and those who continue to fight the war on terror every day. Please pray for those still suffering from the effects of 9/11 and the families left with the void. God bless America. United we stand.
Thomas J. Kennedy. Yvonne E. Kennedy. John Richard Keohane. Ralph Francis Kershaw. Ronald T. Kerwin. Howard L. Kestenbaum. Douglas D. Ketchum. Ruth Ellen Kettler. Boris Califf. Norma Cruz Khan. Sarah Khan. Tamor Faraz Khan. Rahesh Handawal. Salai Ku. Michael Vernon Kiefer. Satoshi Kikuchihara. Andrew Jaehoon Kim. Lawrence Don Kim. Mary Jo Kimmelman. Heinrich Kimmig. Karen Ann Kincaid. Amy R. King. Andrew M. King. Lucille Teresa King. Robert King Jr. Lisa King Johnson. Brian K. Kinney. Takashi Kinoshita. Chris Michael Kirby. Robert Kirkpatrick. Howard Barry Kirschbaum. Glenn Davis Kerwin. Helen Crossan Kittle. Richard Joseph Claris. Peter Anton Klein. Alan David Kleinberg. Karen Joyce Klitzman. Ronald Philip Clofer. Stephen A. Knapp. Eugenie Niazavid. And my grandfather, Edward Calderon. Papa, I never met you, but from the stories I've heard, I feel like you're my best friend. I felt your presence in many ways, from walking down the aisle with me for my 8th grade graduation to my first day of high school. You impacted many people, including myself. Whenever we speak of this dreadful tragedy in school, I always bring you up. I've learned many things about you. You're caring, funny, outgoing, and most importantly, a hero. I'm proud to say I spent all 14 years of my life looking up to you. I aspire to be just like you, an actor, singer, and dancer. I hope I made you proud in all my school plays, even though I know you're in the front row looking right at me. I love you always, and God bless America.
And my uncle Martín Morales en Puertecal. Tío Martín, han pasado 23 años sin tu presencia física, pero de nuestros corazones jamás has partido, y así seguirás por siempre. Gracias por ser nuestro ángel.
Andrew James Knox.
Thomas Patrick Knox.
Rebecca Lee Kabori.
Deborah A. Kobus.
Gary Edward Ketchler.
Frank J. Costner.
Ryan Cohart.
Vanessa Lynn Shabislo Kolpak.
Irina Kolpakova.
Suzanne Rose Kondratenko.
Abdullah Kone.
Bonsiok Ku.
Dorada Kopisitko.
Scott Michael Kopitko.
Bohan George Kostish.
Danielle Kasulis.
David P. Kovalsin.
John J. Kren.
William Edward Krukowski.
Ludmila Casido.
Toshiya Kuge.
Shekhar Kumar.
Kenneth Bruce Kumpel.
Frederick Ku Jr.
Patricia A. Koras.
Nauka Kushatani.
Thomas Joseph Kuvaikis.
Victor Kwarkai.
Raymond Kui Phi Kwok.
Angela Reed Kite.
Andrew Lacorte.
Carol Ann LaPlante.
Jeffrey G. Latouche.
Catherine L. Labori.
Amarnath Lachman.
Ganesh K. Ladkit.
James Patrick Lodley.
Joseph A. LaFosse.
Jeanette Louise Lafond Mendocina.
David James LaForge.
And my husband, Brian Joseph Murphy. Although I miss you every day, I feel your presence wherever I may be. You taught me how to love fully with all of your heart and soul. You introduced me to unconditional loving as the true meaning of life. I am forever grateful for our time together, for our children, Jessica and Layla, and for your wonderful family whom I cherish. Thank you, New York, for continuing to honor the victims of 9/11 and for the privilege of reading their names.
And my father, Manuel Joao de Moda Jr. On my way here this morning, I thought how I woke up at the same time. I left the same house. I drove the same route. And I came to the same place my father came to 23 years ago. My father, Manuel, left this life suddenly, and he left this life too soon, before I had the opportunity to meet him. But this memorial and the people we lost on that horrible morning serve as a reminder to all of us to cherish what matters most, family. I love you, Dad, and not a day goes by where I don't think of you. Your wife, siblings, children, family, and friends all love and miss you very much. Thank you.
Michael Patrick Lafort.
Alan Charles LaFrance.
Juan Mendez Lafuente.
Neil Kwangwa Lai.
Vincent Anthony Leta.
William David Lake.
Franco Lalama.
Chow Kwan Lam.
Michael S. Lamama.
Stephen LaMancha.
Amy Hope Lansdorf.
Robert T. Lane.
Brendan Mark Lang.
Roseanne P. Lang.
Vanessa Lang Langer.
Mary Lou Langley.
Peter J. Langone.
Thomas Michael Langone.
Michelle Bernadette Lanza.
Ruth Sheila Lappin.
Ingeborg A.D. Larrabee.
Robin Blair Larkey.
Judith Camilla LaRoque.
Christopher Randall Larrabee.
Hamadou S. Larry.
Scott Larson.
John Adam Larson.
Natalie Janice Lasden.
Gary Edward Lasco.
Nicholas Craig Lassman.
Paul Lazinski.
Charles A. Lorenzen.
Stephen James Laria.
Maria Lavache.
Dennis Francis Lavelle.
Janine Mary Laverde.
Anna A. Laverty.
Stephen Lawn.
Robert A. Lawrence Jr.
Nathaniel Lawson.
And my wife, Arlene Ava Freed. We love you and will miss you forever. And you would be so proud of your daughters and grandchildren. We all love you. Thank you.
And my big brother, Andrew Ira Rosenblum. Over the last 2 decades, Andrew, your 2 young sons have grown into fine young men with families of their own. You have 4 grandchildren that are absolutely beautiful. They are your legacy. You will live through them. We love you